Hello, we're going to do a demo of the new Townie. So if you log into Valtown, you can pop over to Townie and you'll automatically get logged into it. And you might wonder, why do you have to get logged into a page? Why do you have to get logged into a part of Valtown? And the reason is that Townie isn't a part of Valtown. Townie is now a separate app that is built itself on Valtown. So this is the source code and the running app for Townie. So Townie lives in the val.town account on Valtown. And this is where it actually runs in production. This is the production one. There are many different branches that the Valtown team are working on. But you can remix it, get it running in your account, and then send us pull requests. It's fully open source and runs and is deployed in Valtown. And so the way the authentication works is through an OAuth scheme that happens kind of invisibly, which is kind of how you get logged into Valtown through GitHub, for example. But enough about Townie's basics. Let's make some code. I think what we're going to do is make a to-do app. That's always a fun place to start. I've always been a huge fan of to-do MVC. I think this is the coolest thing. Okay, so let's make a basic to-do app. Let's make it Harry Potter themed. Let's make the app fully client. Let's make the app Hano on the back end and client side React on the front end. Make API routes to get the data. Let's store the data in blob storage. Let's use okay, so I'm giving it all at once. I'm giving it a lot of stuff right now, all at once. I'm even throwing authentication at it. This is like one way to do authentication in Valtown. I even have instructions for LLMs, so I can paste those in here. And let's let it go. So this version of Townie, I don't know, it's like version 5 of Townie. We've rebuilt Townie so many times. This version is using Claude 3.7 Sonnet and is heavily using tools. We have a thinking tool which gives the model, these reasoning models, a opportunity to like plan what it's going to do. It views the structure of the project. Right now, this is a brand new empty project, so there's nothing to see there. It creates a README with an outline of what it's about to do, which is cool. It makes a file of some types. It makes the backend file. Makes front ends. Makes some React components, and voila! Look at that. It made the thing. Oh, it's still working. It is testing the HTTP endpoint to see what it gets back. This is a really cool tool that we give it, the ability to make HTTP calls to the stuff that it's making. And it's done. And now it's just writing up like the final description of what it has done. Let's go ahead and open this up in a tab and see how well it did on its one-shot demo. All right, it sure is taking a long time to load. Interesting. Okay, so we have some client-side errors. So we have some. This is really a server-side error. Let's see. So, given that Townie has a tool to like read its own here, given that Townie has the ability to view its like make HTTP requests to itself. We could just give it, this and say, this might be hard. Yeah. We could try. We could say, okay, let's see if it can figure that out. I could also take a look with my human brain and my human eyes. It's cool, this paper theme. I wonder how it figured that out. No, that's not what we want to do. Yeah. Right now, Townie is only as smart as it is. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. All right, so I think ultimately the problem is probably this sort of thing. Oh, okay, let's see. Checking out the code. The code looks pretty good. Let's see. App from components app. That looks like it should be good. Failed to fetch file. To do app front end components app. Oh, there we go. That's the bug. The bug was just .tsx on the end of that. Let's see if there are other similar issues. Yeah, these guys are going to need .tsx, and that's going to need .tsx. Cool. Now let's open this up. That would have been hard for Townie to figure out. All right, let's manage my to-do lists. So I will log in with last login. I'll go ahead and log in with my Valtown email. Whoa, look at that. Did you see? I think that was like wizarding houses. All right, so I'm going to add this is one task. My second task. Sweet. Refresh the page. Are they still going to be there? Boom, they're still there. Isn't that the coolest thing you've ever seen? All right, log out, log back in. I'll log in with a different email address. And new email, tasks, whatever. Learn to fly on a broom. Sick. All right, now let's log out of this and log back into the original one just to prove to you that this kind of thing is all working with authentication. Look at that. That's still there. So I guess it's probably useful for me to walk you through the code. So my current thesis about AI-generated apps like Townie is that you can't really rely on them too much. Like you just saw, like they make mistakes all the time. You have to use your human brain. So I guess there are a couple things to walk you through. One is the Townie prompts. So I really recommend reading the prompts for a number of reasons. It teaches you how to do prompting. And also, in some sense, these prompts that we give Townie and Claude 3.7 Sonnet are like condensed everything you need to know to program in Valtown. So this teaches about the different kinds of triggers. This teaches about the different Valtown standard library functions. This teaches you how to read or serve files. So like this is how we host the index.html page and the JavaScript files like that. We give it a bunch of random tips. We tell it how to like lay out a whole project. We tell it how to use Hano, which is a really cool API framework if you don't know about it. And then we give it some final tips about things to do or not to do in order to avoid issues. And this system prompt is pretty generic and is useful if you wanted to develop in Valtown with Cursor, which is a thing you can do. We have a Valtown CLI, which lets you sync from Cursor or any text editor. It lets you sync from the file system, so you can use any text editor like Cursor, NeoVim, Emacs, Windsurf, VS Code. And yeah, it's awesome. You sync on every save. It's really cool. So you would use this system prompt. OpenTownie has like extra specific stuff about like how to use the tools that we give it access to. You don't have to understand how OpenTownie works, but like here are the different tools we give it access to. This is the one that I built recently that lets it make HTTP requests to itself. Here's how it writes files to itself. It's really cool stuff, and it's all open source. And if anyone's curious about it, let me know, and I'll make a video about how this Townie thing works. But anyways, so the prompts are important. If you want to make apps on Val 10, you really should know everything in the prompts that we tell the AI. And then let me walk you through this code, because I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in here that we can go over. All right, so the first thing I'm noticing is that it's like duplicated the things from shared. That's terrible. So we shouldn't have to do this. We could just we should be able to import these types. Import. So this is like, another example of why you need to use your human brain. The AI makes silly mistakes. Type to do. Yeah, I think I need to like write type each time, but I'm not sure. I think the other AI helped me write this. So that should work. Shared. It should be ... / shared. So the AI got really close. All right, now it's working again. It says that no import. I think this error message is wrong. So we're working on improving these error messages to be more correct. All right, so Hano is a wonderful API server that works everywhere that JavaScript works. It's the best. It's like the new Express.js. If you're from Python, it's like Sinatra. If you're from Ruby, it's like Sinatra. If you're from Python, it's like Flask. This is like some boilerplate you need to get better error messages in Valtown with Hano. This is how we publish all of the front end and shared code, how we serve it, so it's accessible from the front end. This is a helper function to get each user's data from blob storage. You could also use SQLite storage if you want something that's a little bit faster, but maybe a little bit harder to work with. I could do a video about SQLite in the future, but this comes for free and is built into Valtown, some blob storage. So you don't have to worry about backend stuff. This is a helper function so this is for reading users as blob storage, and this is for writing to users as blob storage. And it's a scoped to each user by their email address, which is cool. This is how we get users' data. We check for their email address, and this last login thing is a trusted way to get the logged in user. So it's really straightforward. This last login thing is what provides that magic login with Google thing that you saw in the demo. So this is for getting the to-dos. This is the API route for creating a new to-do. This is the API route for updating a to-do. I didn't even know that was in there. Here, let's see. How do I update a to-do? This. I can check it off. Yeah, so if I check things off, it updates it. And the reason, it looks like there's no optimistic updating, so we have to wait for it to go save to blob storage and come back before we see the result. So we could add optimistic updates if we wanted. Sick, I didn't know about that. Deleting a to-do, also, there's an API route for that. And then this is the API route. Well, this is the route for the homepage, showing the HTML file, adding in some data about like the user. I guess just adding their email address. So yeah, so here you see when I refresh the page, do you see how the email address is there, but then I have to load these? That's why, because we've bootstrapped. That's what that's called. We've bootstrapped the email address onto the page. Oh, that's hilarious. This is only AI would make this sort of mistake. I guess a human could, but that is all you need, buddy. You don't need. Oh no, the AI is trying to do silly stuff. Okay, so that's all you need. Yeah, it just wrote an extra container function for no reason. All right, so that's the API, the back end. Now let's start with the front end. So this is how the front end gets hosted. Everything but the homepage. The homepage gets hosted here. But also, this is where we get the index.html file, and then we write to it. So here's that HTML file. This HTML file then gets this index TypeScript file, which we transpile to JavaScript for the browser somewhere else. That's kind of handled for you. It's kind of handled for you in a utility function. If you're curious about that, let me know. So this like sets up the React app on the client. Then this is the main React app. I don't know what this is. So this sets up the main React app. And here we're like making requests to our backend to get the data. And then here's another React component. Here's another React component. Pretty normal React stuff. And yeah, here are the types. And that's it. That's a walkthrough of how to do it with Valtown. I think, yeah, we basically did this all in one shot, which is crazy cool. It made some mistakes that I don't think it would have been able to fix on its own. I had to add the extensions. I had to use my human brain to look through and figure it out. Sorry, yeah, I stopped it before it like did its thing. But we can have it do more stuff. I could say, let's bootstrap the to-dos for the user into the initial page load if they exist. If the user is logged in. This is a normal request to ask. If this app is deployed and you didn't want to like break the users of it while you're working on new features, you would work in a branch, and then all these changes would happen in a branch, and then users would not get users wouldn't get the changes until you merge them into main, just like on GitHub. All right, it's doing its work. Wow, look at that. The houses of Hogwarts. That's sick. Okay, so I think it's almost done, so I'm going to start explaining it. So let's go here. This is where the bootstrapping starts. So on the home page, if the user's logged in, let's get their to-dos and then inject them into this initial data onto the page. This is a little bit dangerous, like from an XSS perspective, possibly. This isn't the securest way to do this. If you ask Townie to do this in a more secure way, I think it'd be able to figure it out. But if not, you could ask a different, like O3 can help you do this in a more secure way if you want, or ask me and I can help you with that. So then over here, this is the type of the data we're expecting, and we pass it in to the app. And then here the app now gets the initial data, and it should initialize it. So now when I refresh the page, if everything worked, then you won't have to wait a second time for this to load. It'll load immediately on the page load. Fingers crossed. Boom. Boom. Server side rendering, server side bootstrapping. So to be fair, it's a little slow. Blob storage is a little slow. If we had this in SQLite, it would be loading like that. But it's still pretty quite cool. All right, thanks for watching. And this video was made in response to a user on email asking for a tutorial on how to use Townie. And so I just wanted to throw something together so that something existed for that user and just from people more broadly. So if you have any questions, please reach out and we'll make another video for you.